Movie Monday, where we talk about movies on Monday. And today's movie is Harlem Nights, starring Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. Y'all. Now, y'all know this is a kicker. Well, we're going to talk about movies Monday and the spiritual meaning behind each movie. Now, let's get into Harlem Night because y'all know this was a kicker. So in 1918 Harlem, okay, Vernice Brown, Quick Brown, is his Sugar Ray's errand boy, and he did him a big one because Sugar Ray had got entangled in some stuff in his nightclub that night, and Quick pulled out that pew pew, and upon discovering that Quick was an orphan, Ray took him in and raised him. Now, as time go by, they running this club called the Sugar Rays, where it looked like a candy shop in the beginning, but we got all kind of nightclub and gambling fun and excitement in the back. Now, they sat around and did some discussing, y'all, because you could get some drinking, you could get some girls, you could get some fun, you could get some plenty. Y'all, do you see the all-star cast? Okay. Now, when the success of the club started to intimidate this gangster called Bugsy Calhoun, he sent in this sleazy piece of crap right here, who is the cop, to do his bidding to shut the black folks down. Now, y'all already know the black folks couldn't have no fun. They couldn't have no fun back in the day, so they had to sneak and have their fun. And, of course, Whitey wanted a piece of the cake, too. Now, you wouldn't know right now what for none of that. They weren't for none of that. They weren't for none of that. So they all got together and concocted a plan, a scheme to do them in before, because, Ray Quick, he was ready to pow, pew, pew, and get him in. But Ray was like, no, we're going to do something. You got to stay calm. We're going to do something, and we're going to get out of here. We got to move, okay? It's getting hot down here. We got to go. So they concocted that doing this boxing match right here with Jack Jenkins, that, hey, we gon' do it during the boxing match because everybody will be at the match. Won't nobody be there. And Jack here, wedded. Yeah, they were wedded. Now, of course, their scheme was to rob Bugsy Calhoun, which he had like $750,000 worth of property, cash and stuff, which would be equivalent to about, I'll say, 2.15 million today. So Quick has this encounter with Tommy Smalls, who is the enforcer for Bugsy Calhoun, and also Dominique LaRue, who is his bottom girl, and they meet up at the club and they get a little dating shawady going on. But Quick end up going to Tommy Small's apartment, finding out that he was unalive due to him embezzling funds from Bugsy Calhoun. They found out about it. So, y'all, this is the part right here. Y'all know this shit funny. Now, Tommy Small brother Reggie, played by Arsenio, was the laugh and the kicker. How he was crying because he thought Quick had killed his brother. And they after Quick, they chasing after Quick, they shooting, they chasing, and they didn't give up, okay, until they caught Quick dead ended, and he had to bust into that flower shop, and they in the road shooting. They in the road shooting, and that one right there, y'all know how he was powering off at it. Come on now, y'all. Now, in the end, y'all know Quick took him down with 1, 2, 3, and that's all it took, and it was over. Now, after Quick realized he was being set up, okay, he ended up going to Dominique LaRue house, okay, because he already had this little date going on. He go to Dominique LaRue, and they try to hook up and find out she trying to unalive him with her little mini pretty under the covers, under the pillow. Quick tore her ass up real quick. Now, I moved a little too fast, so let me throw this in here real quick. Now, when that pinky toe, when Delarice had to get on his ass. Now, come on now, y'all. They say don't never bring a knife to a gunfight. But even though Quick got his ass tore up, he had to shoot her ass to get her big ass off of him. Okay, now we back. Now, Quick had to go into a little bit of hiding after that Dominique LaRue and Reggie crew and all them people, and then they kind of trashed the place. They did some stuff. Quick had to go into hiding, okay? He ended up having to go hide with Miss Delarice here. I couldn't get her name, but yeah. And she was making sandwiches with that thick ass bread, and they drinking all the damn orange juice and leaving corners in the damn container. I'm ready with their Reese on that. Now that shit just done. Now they destroy up Sugar Ray's club. The Calhoun folks did after it all happened. Okay, and while Quick was in hiding, I told you that they was using the boxing fight to do the bidding, to do the robbery, and they was also stealing the money from them with the bets. So Miss Vera, that was her name. That's when she sent in her Lady Heron. Now Richie Vino here was Calhoun's bag man, was the one toting the money in the Heron and doing all the trash pouring, but he ended up running into Lady Heron and he fell in love and called his wife and said, you know what, I ain't coming home no more. I ain't coming home. But it was all just a setup. But she was putting it on. So the cops and stuff, they already had this shenanigan plan come up with the white cops. They act like, they was cops. They stopped them. They had the white cops come in for a distraction and make it seem like they was really, getting caught up doing what they was doing. And Richie here get caught up in the middle with Lady Heron because she switched the bag, took the money, and was left with the Heron in the bag. And that's what he had to take to Calhoun. And he had to explain that shit to Calhoun later because Quick Ray and the crew, they had already got his ass. And that's when Slammy Grammy here, Capone, the officer, who was watching them and thought they had caught him, like, oh yeah, y'all up in a bank that don't exist, baby. That was a trap, and you followed them right into it, and they got your ass, and you better take them short breaths in that damn vault. Now, of course, Calhoun figured out what's going on at the boxing match when, he was able to, the Jack Jenkins guy was able to defeat the white guy quickly. He got mad and raged, went home. This is when Lady Madam Vera come over there like she's scared for her life. Richard show up with that sugar Heron and not that man money. Vera come up with the plot like I'm just an old ass bitch that's trying to get up out of here, excuse my language. And she said she's scared for her life, y'all. It was just a distraction. So when she left, they was trying to figure out, okay, this is the plot, we finna get Quick. But then quickly they realized they was being set up, and kapow, the shit exploded. And there y'all go, Harlem Nights, y'all, because at the end, of course, the black people, they paid off those two white cops and they rode off into the sunset looking over it saying, hey, we can never come back to Harlem again. There was a lovely all-star cast. I could not just really get into all the characters, but I got into as many as I can. So let me give you the spiritual breakdown of what I feel is with this movie. Now with Ray and Sugar, with Sugar Ray and Quick, it was a thing of wisdom and guidance, accepting into the elderly. Even though the environment that Ray brought Quick in was already toxic, but Quick already had some toxic stuff on his hand. He already had death on his hand, and he had unalived somebody for him. But he raised him to have wisdom. He taught him about his attitude and his eagerness. It was also done in a time where black people couldn't have much, so they had to learn how to move strategically and silently. Everything does not have to be loud and flashy. With a lot of our black people, that's what we have going on today. And betrayal also comes from close proximity and not from strangers. So there was a lot of deceitful energy around Calhoun, and there was a lot of loyalty within Sugar Ray's circle. And it's just letting you know you have to keep your eye on people and discernment, even with business, because people are shady and they try to get next to you just because they want something. There was clubs in here, and it was tied to money and power, control, spiritual alignment, and it's letting you know that people in your space will affect your money, it will affect your time, it will affect your energy, and you have to protect your energy fields at all times. And in the end, revenge was they got justice and karma with the divine timing, learning that revenge is not something that you have to seek all the time. Sometimes you have to let things play out. The divine timing will come. Do not force the revenge. And in the end, it was all about power and control and mastering your emotions, because power is not loud. And in the end, you should move smart, trust your elders, watch your circle, and protect your peace at all times. Even though shit could be toxic, it could be healthy for you in the end.